The most ruthless women in history, bloodthirsty rulers and killers. History has seen many ruthless rulers and bloodthirsty killers. But today, we will tell you about the most merciless women whose atrocities became legendary. They were aristocrats, noble ladies, yet their hands were drenched in blood. Their power instilled fear, and their victims were nothing more than pawns in their cruel games. Darya Saltykova, the bloodthirsty Baroness, Darya Nikolaevna Saltykova, 1730 to 1801, was a Russian noblewoman of the 18th century, known in history as Saltykova. Born into a prestigious family, she inherited a vast estate after her husband's death. Darya Saltykova was infamous for her sadistic cruelty. She subjected her serfs to brutal torture, beating them to death, scalding them with boiling water, and starving them. Witnesses claimed that she took pleasure in their suffering, listening to their dying screams. For years, peasants were too terrified to complain, until finally, their pleas reached Empress Catherine II herself. The Empress ordered an investigation, which uncovered over 100 murders. Though spared execution, Saltykova was imprisoned in a monastery dungeon, where she gradually lost her sanity, haunted by the cries of her victims. Elizabeth Báthory, the Blood Countess, Elizabeth Báthory, 1560 to 1614, was a Hungarian noblewoman and one of history's most notorious serial killers. She belonged to a powerful aristocratic family and wielded great influence at court. Elizabeth Báthory went down in history as the Blood Countess. According to legend, she bathed in the blood of virgins to preserve her youth. Her castle contained secret chambers where victims were chained to the walls, tortured with burning irons, starved, or left to freeze to death. It is said that her servants lured young girls into the castle under the guise of employment, only for them to vanish forever. When the king ordered her arrest, mutilated bodies were discovered in her castle. Yet, her noble birth saved her from execution. She was instead imprisoned in a sealed stone tower, with no windows or doors, where she died alone 4 years later. Mary I of England, Bloody Mary, Mary I, 1516 to 1558, was the Queen of England, the daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. A devout Catholic, she sought to eradicate Protestantism from England. Mary Tudor became infamous as Bloody Mary. She launched a reign of religious terror, burning Protestants alive, drowning them, and sentencing them to gruesome tortures. During her short reign, nearly 300 people were executed for heresy. Her obsessive mission to cleanse England of heretics earned her the hatred of her people. Many came to see her as a demon in human form, and even after her death, her name became a terrifying legend, forever linked to one of history's darkest chapters. Zhang Zhi, the ruthless empress, Zhang Zhi, 16th century, was the wife of a Ming dynasty emperor, notorious for her bloodthirsty nature and power struggles. Zhang Zhi was one of the most feared women in Chinese history. Seeing all rivals as a threat, she mercilessly eliminated them. She ordered the execution of dozens of her husband's concubines, often using horrific methods, drowning, dismemberment, and live burial. Her cruelty knew no limits, and even her closest advisors lived in fear. Eventually, she was overthrown. Knowing she faced a brutal death, she chose to take her own life instead. Catherine de Medici, the Queen of Blood and Intrigue, Catherine de Medici, 1519 to 1589, was the Queen of France and wife of King Henry II. She was infamous for her political plots and ruthless tactics. Catherine de Medici became one of the most feared and cunning queens in French history. A staunch Catholic, she fueled the flames of religious war, orchestrating the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre, a brutal slaughter of Huguenot Protestants. In a single night, 3,000 people were butchered in Paris, and over 10,000 across France. She used poison, assassinations, and conspiracies to maintain her family's grip on power. Her name became synonymous with political cruelty, where murder and manipulation were simply tools of royal rule.